I lost my son to the calamity.
The three Seed Seers are all together.
Some say you couldn't take a step without stumbling over a body. Our forebears were once strangers in the Twelveswood. Fearful of the Green Wrath, they hid themselves in the dark recesses of the earth. Yet they dreamed of basking in the dappled sunlight of the forest. Through great effort, they proved their worth to the elementals, and were granted a place beneath the boughs. So it was that Gridania was born, some 5 centuries ago. Working hand in hand, the Hyur and the Elysian settlers sowed the seeds of our civilization, and soon they were joined by folk of all races. So nourished by the waters of unity, and blessed by the light of the matron, Gridania flourished into the great nation it is today.
Do you see the Gridanian standard? There, hanging behind the Elder Seed Seer. The entwined serpents represent the unity between Hyur and Elysian. An elegant symbol, do you not agree?
In accordance with the will of the elementals, we have embraced a life of peace. Alas, our neighbors have not always sought the same for themselves, nor for us. Though we Gridanians have no love for war, we have still less for those who would threaten our way of life. Ever have we fought to protect the sanctity of the Twelveswood. When the Garlean Empire brought its war of conquest to Eorzea, we rallied under the noble standard of the Twin Adder that we might push back the encroaching darkness. And it was we who prepared the ground for the reformation of the Eorzean Alliance, that all the peoples of this realm might stand united against the common threat. "5 years ago, the Alliance met the armies of the Empire upon the fields of Cartano. It would prove the bloodiest battle in recent memory. Countless Gridanian lives were lost. As Supreme Commander of the Order of the Twin Adder, ever shall I bear the weight of our people's sacrifice. Alas, their loss was not the only tragedy to befall us that day, for soon came the calamity. The scars borne by our forest are a constant reminder of its violence. Our lives have been irrevocably changed, each waking hour a struggle to survive. Driven to desperation, some among us have strayed from the path of righteousness, resorting to banditry, poaching, and other unconscionable deeds. To compound our woes, the Ixal have returned in force, emboldened by our suffering. They test our defenses nigh without cease, and prey upon the vulnerable. So beleaguered from within and without, it is of little wonder that our unity now falters. Dark times are upon us.
Time was a man could walk the highroads without fear.
On this day, 5 years ago, countless Eorzeans laid down their lives that we might behold another dawn. Please join with me in honoring their memory.
And how do you propose to honor the memory of those you cannot remember, pray tell?
The destruction wrought by the calamity was indiscriminate. It dealt death to Eorzean and Garlean alike. Yet while we have labored to rebuild our homes, to rebuild our lives, the Empire has set about raising steel fortresses here in the Twelveswood. Let none be mistaken. The Garleans remain the greatest threat to our survival. If we are to stand against them, we must remember what it is to be united. Our many troubles blind us to the woes of our fellow man. Thence is harmony lost. Yet harmony is the founding principle of Gridania. We are gathered here to honor the fallen. Let them be honored not only in word and thought, but through concerted action. I bid you join hands with me once more beneath the Twin Adder standard. And together, let us heal the forest's wounds, that our progeny might live in harmony beneath these ancient boughs. For serenity, purity, and sanctity. We must think of the children!
Woods will be done.
It's up to us to protect the
For
forest.
the elementals!
If you'll permit me, Alfie No. And my sister, Alize, at your service. I saw at a glance that you were a fellow traveler. You might call us students of history, sampling the realm's remembrances in pursuit of enlightenment.
Behold, 'tis the Sultana Nanamo herself!
And Reborn as well!
Hark you, souls of flame, drawn to the bosom of the desert, where the fire burns brightest and shall rage forevermore.
Hurrah! Reborn!
Where since antiquity, under the sage and judicious rule of the Ul dynasty, we have wrought sand into gold, where by the grace and glory of Naldar have our brave sons and daughters flourished and prospered. I speak of Uldar!
There, at the Flame General's back flies the Grand Company's standard. Note the sigil. The golden scales of order balance the jewel of prosperity with the flame of might.
Great and many are the gifts our nation has given the realm. In Eorzea's darkest hour, on the killing fields of Cartano, none spent more in blood and gold than we. Thus was the 7th Imperial Legion laid low.
So that's how it happened. How soon history forgets.
Yet many left our gates, never to return. Let us pray for our absent brothers and sisters, that they might know happiness in the great beyond, as Thal's honored guest. If the fates were fair, the price we paid that day would have bought us victory. Alas, they are not, and now, but 5 years into this 7th Umbral era, the spirit of sacrifice which granted us our strength is all but dead. Look around you. What do you see? A people divided, downtrodden and enthralled. Where are the merciful alms of the rich? Where is the just steel of the righteous? I ask you, is this the great nation our brothers and sisters gave their lives to save? You who call this living, dishonor the name of the immortal flames. It is but a slow death. Our enemies surround us. The savage hordes of the Amalja wait beside our roads, strangling the lifelines of trade. Meanwhile, the Garleans make mock of our borders and despoil our land of its natural wealth. We stand on a precipice, yet we do not act. Whether trader or soldier, monetarist or royalist, all must recognize that a divided Uldar stands to fall. Victory and fortune walk hand in hand. Ye who seek glory and wealth, look not to what little you can snatch from your neighbor, but to the boundless wealth of the world beyond. Now is the time to unite. Now is the time to ride forth. In the name of the Sultana, I beseech you, line not your own coffers, but those of the immortal flames. Seek not to prosper from Uldar, but to restore her to prosperity. As the realm prospers, so shall Uldar. As Uldar prospers, so shall her people.
Ja for Uldar!
Together we are one.
Your grace.
Reborn. People of Uldar, I, Nanamo, 17th in the line of Ul, address you. Much has been made of the wealth of Uldar. Yet those who measure that wealth in coins and carats are gravely deceived, for the true wealth of Uldar lies in the health, happiness, and hopes of her people. Beloved subjects, I bid you raise aloft the torch of Uldar, that her flames might serve as a beacon for all Eorzea to see.
Long live Nanamo!
Glory to the Sultana!
For victory and fortune, stride fearless into the inferno, for we are, by fire,
Forsooth!
The time is now!
I
Fancy meeting you again.
The Garleans are another matter altogether.
So much for our alliance.
It's sunk beyond the seabed.
Brothers and sisters of the sea, hearken unto me. Look upon this, our mighty crimson standard, and tell me your hearts do not swell with pride. "700 summers have come and gone since our forefathers first ran aground in this fertile bay. In that time, guided by the Mother of Oceans, Limsa Lominsa has grown from humble fishing village to uncontested ruler of the 5 seas and beyond.
Did you look as the Admiral bid you? It is a rather stirring standard, I must say. The crimson field is meant to signify the blood of fallen crewmates, while the black longship represents a pirate vessel.
When the Garlean Empire marched upon Eorzea, we assembled beneath the Maelstrom standard, and our grand company was reborn. All answered the call, from the Knights of the Barracuda to Hilthier's bloody executioners, and together we met our would-be conquerors upon the field of Cartano. That day, the world bore witness to the united strength of Limsa Lominsa. I swear to you no army ever fought harder or with more courage, yet many of ours did not survive. Join me now in remembering those who fought in the name of freedom and fell, May their souls be returned to the sea.
Freedom. Yes, they have always been rather fond of their freedom, much as the beast tribes have. Small wonder. Beneath the surface, one would struggle to tell them apart.
It has been 5 long years since the calamity struck. 5 long years of tireless rebuilding. Yet still the wounds of the calamity fester and weep. But when I stand atop the mizzenmast and gaze out upon our battered and broken vessel, I see an undying spirit. Did we not build all this from the wreck of the Galadian all those centuries ago? Shall we not do so again? Yet there are those who would see this ship of ours sink beneath the waves of the restless Rotano. The Sahagin creep ashore seeking blood for their accursed god.
Those fishback
The Sahagin have risen?
While the mines of Ogomoro spew forth kobolds who push ever south, despoiling our lands as they go. These savage beast tribes will be the first waves to crash against our creaking hull. And behind them swells the grim tide of the Garlean Empire. Even now the Curs fly their flags within our borders. Doubt not, but that they will be upon us ere long. We are well nigh surrounded. Yet there are those among us who would rather turn their swords against their crewmates than our cannons against our... How can we hope to repel our many enemies when mutiny breeds below deck? There is but one course left to us. One bearing that will bring us victory over the beast hordes and the Empire both. And see this ship safe to port. We must mend the rift the calamity has
Gather the lads!
Oh, where's me cutlass?
I'll follow ye to the 7 hells, Admiral!
Fancy meeting you again. The gods only know what grand company our adventurer friend will keep. The wheels of change are in motion regardless.
Brother, are you certain this course is best?
Whatever do you mean, dear sister?
The so-called remembrance ceremonies were little more than standard waving rallies, as though the Calamity and Seventh Umbral era warranted scarcely a
Well, of course they were standard waving rallies. Since you are so observant, mayhap you noticed what mention was made of the Warriors of Light? I suppose they must have forgotten the heroes who spared Eorzea a fate worse than the Calamity? No, dear Alizé, they haven't forgotten these details. They have elected to omit them. Deep are the wounds the Calamity inflicted upon Eorzea. So deep, in fact, that the realm still bleeds. Needless to say, the beast tribes and their primals do little to alleviate the pain. So, the task of salving Eorzea's wounds falls to the scions of the Seventh Dawn, with a little help from our friends, the Grand Company. Remembrance will yield no remedy. If our world is to heal, we must put the horrors of the Calamity behind us.
Our grandfather would never entrust the fate of the realm to despots who rewrite history to their convenience. There must be another way to cure what ails this world, and I mean to find it.
You are most welcome to try. Our paths may differ, but our destination is the same. In time, I dare say we will see eye to eye.
I should hope so.
My lady!
We are to escort you!
Hope does not come into it. We share the burden of this fate, dear sister, and will prevail together or not at all. The salve will serve not only to close up our present wound, but prevent old ones from opening anew.